We have obviously spent the last week, for sure, talking with the governor since the regular session about how to come to some compromise or agreement on how to close out these final bills that were vetoed. So we are today announcing that we are going to accept the governor's offer from the last night of session, which was an increase of spending of $525 million over base on K-12 education without any policy compromises and without pre-K. So that's where we left it on the last night of session. We were still apart at that time, as you remember, and was reported in the media. So we are accepting that offer of his from the last night of session. We still do have some outstanding issues on a couple of the other bills. We think those are minor. In fact, we have a meeting this afternoon to work out those differences on some of those other bills, and that should get us wrapped up. So my hope is that we can get this wrapped up fairly quickly, and we can provide folks who, frankly, are going to be getting layoff notices within the hour. We can provide them with some certainty that they will have a job on July 1st, and we think that that's very important as well. So we are announcing that we're accepting the governor's offer from the last night of session.
In the veto letter on the environment bill, there were 9 specific objections. Where are you on that?
I think that right now we were at the point where I think there was maybe 3 left, and we were working out language on those 3 points, and that's what the staff is going to go into a room this afternoon and kind of dig into a little deeper with everybody kind of all in the same room so we can just work through the differences. But I think we're fairly close on those. We've made some concessions. I think the governor is making some concessions. So I don't believe that those other bills, either the environment or the jobs bill, will hold up anything at this point. I think we're getting to the point where it was really just language. We had conversations about the concepts in those bills and the concepts in the points that the governor had delineated in his not in the veto letter, but in his offer letter that came back to us, things he wanted fixed in those bills. And in general, we agreed on the concept of those bullet points, so I think right now we're just looking for language that executes the concepts that we had agreed upon.
Well, as I've said before, compromise means you agree 2 things you don't agree with, and I take very seriously the effects of this impasse on now 10,000 state employees who received layoff notices today, many of whom have gone through this kind of anxiety, followed by, in 2011, going over the cliff. And so I'm willing to concede on the funding for the schools, E12, to the Speaker's proposed $125 million, going down from my $150 million. As I think his own chart showed pretty clearly earlier today, they started at $159 million, and now they're up to $525 million of additional funding. And I've come down from close to $700 million down to $525 million. I had hoped to get them up to $150 million additional, $550 million total, and they just have absolutely refused. And it's kind of hard for me to comprehend why people object to spending more money on young children. And that's what this is. If you take what we finally will agree to in terms of the allocation of that additional $125 million and look at what I had proposed in terms of the spending $150 million, you'll see $25 million there, which is a number, but it's kids. It's kids who will not receive services that they would have otherwise. And again, we'll have to work out what the details of that are, but it's going to be kids who will not receive the quality educational opportunities. And why we have to debate about that with over $1 billion on the bottom line.